Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar on how to get loyal customers for your business. My name is Sotonye, and with me today is Muna, and we hope this is going to be an impactful session for you, and we hope you're going to take away a lot of points you can start executing immediately. So let's get right into it. So who exactly is a loyal customer? I think that's a great place to start, right? Okay. A loyal customer can easily be described as a person who consistently buys from your business, regardless of convenience or price. This means they are not concerned about how convenient or inconvenient it is, neither are they concerned about your price. They found a brand, product, or service that meets their expectations, and they are not interested in trying out any alternatives.
Yes,
okay.
That's exactly who a loyal customer is. And the thing is, many people think that having loyal customers are just having people that just come to buy all the time from your business, but there are two types of customer loyalty actually. There is the functional loyalty. That's just they're buying from you because they don't have any other choice. There's no competition out there. So they just keep buying your products, grumbling as they're buying from you. And then there is emotional loyalty. Now, emotional loyalty goes way beyond functional loyalty because in their own case, there's an emotional attachment, and they do what actual loyal customers are supposed to do, which is advocating for your brand. So whether there is another competitor out there, whether there is a cheaper alternative, they would rather buy from your brand. And that can only be stirred up by great customer service. If your customer service is bad, if your product is bad, it's obviously going to, you're not going to get emotionally loyal customers.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So as a business owner, you should be striving for emotional loyalty over functional loyalty. Because as Muna has said, functional loyalty simply means they don't have any alternatives at the moment. So they're only loyal because they have to be, right? And at the first sign of an alternative that they like, they're going to leave for your competition. Okay, so let's try for emotional loyalty. And emotional loyalty is a byproduct of positive experiences with your brand. Yeah. What that means is you should strive to ensure that every person that interacts with your brand leaves, with a positive experience. So that is what inspires loyalty. And that's why we're here today. So everything we're going to be talking about today is going to be teaching you how you can inspire loyalty in customers so that they stick with your business in the long run. Okay. So I think before we go into the how, we should talk about why loyal customers are important to any business. Because I think we need to understand their importance before we get to how we can actually inspire that loyalty. Okay.
Loyal customers are really, really important for businesses because number one reason is that they actually spend more on your business, spend more money on your business. Yes, you might say, what do you mean? Is it that they buy things at a different price than every other customer? No, I'm saying that they buy repetitively, like continuously from you. And reports show that they spend up to 70% more than new customers. In the sense that the new customer might be skeptical. I don't really know this brand, so I just stick with this one. I just buy this one. But a loyal customer has, become familiar with your brand, and as a result of that, they keep buying and buying, and they can trust you. So that's why they tend to spend more on your brand when they're loyal to you. And also, that is what every business wants, which leads to increasing revenue. So if you don't have loyal customers, there's no way your revenue will increase. It will just probably remain at a level or continue to reduce because you're not being able to sustain as much loyal customers as you're supposed to, or as a healthy amount of loyal customers. But yes, that is one important reason, or first important reason why loyal customers are needed for your business.
Awesome. Okay. So loyal customers are also volunteer marketers, in the sense that they market your business without you even asking. And of course, they do it for free. So loyal customers are the people who are so quick to tell other people about your business. They're so quick to compel everyone they know to buy from you, because they keep having positive experiences and they want everyone else to also have that experience. A consequence of that is you automatically decrease the amount you spend on advertising, right? Because now you have people actually putting in a good word for you. And the truth is, word of mouth remains the most effective form of advertising, because people would rather take recommendations from people that they know, like, and trust than from, say, a generic advert they see perhaps online or on TV or on billboards. So if you can get people who have experienced your brand to tell other people about it, then you really have something going by way of marketing.
That's true. Apart from just marketing for businesses, they are very good brand advocates. They are most likely to defend your brand image online. Let's say something happens, something that triggers some sort of negative reaction online. They're the ones that stand up for your product because they've used it. They know what you can do. They know when something is not right. Just like for instance, someone sells dresses, and then he sees that was this trending tag that time, what I ordered versus what I got. And then he sees that kind of thing. The person can actually go there and be like, no, I know this, designer, I know this person very well. She cannot or he cannot actually do this kind of thing. You should check very well whether you have the right person. So they are actually the ones that help to advocate for brands as well. You don't have to spend so much money trying to defend yourself online, or trying to, some people even, because of the issue that came up online, they quickly take to promos so that people can actually buy from them later, or they can regain customers. But your loyal customers can do that for you. So you don't have to actually have to, go after promos and all. They can take your brand from vilified to pardon, because they have testimonies that speak well of you and cover up whatever mistake or whatever misunderstanding that was online.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. Because it's interesting how we see brands being dragged online, but once in a while, you actually see where a few people stand up for the brand and say, oh no, this wasn't my experience with the brand. I patronize them and I do have a good experience. And then suddenly it goes from, this is a terrible brand, to, oh, okay, this must be a one-off. This must have been a mistake. This must be something that's not the norm with this brand. And so you basically just go from being abused to, being pardoned as a brand that can make mistakes. And I think that's really amazing. Okay, so another thing about loyal customers is they tend to give the most honest feedback, right? Because think about it, a customer who isn't loyal to your business, who has no emotional attachment to it, is probably not bothered about telling you what exactly you're doing right or wrong. Most likely, if you're doing something wrong, they'll just go to another business and keep patronizing. But a loyal customer actually wants your business to succeed, and they actually want to keep getting amazing service. So they're happy to tell you what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right as well, because they're usually that excited. So that's another thing loyal customers are good for. They give you honest feedback. And if there's one thing we know, it's that honest feedback is the easiest way, and in fact, the best way to make improvements in your business.
Yes, that's actually the truth. Because without feedback, like we mentioned in the live video we had on Instagram, without feedback, you don't know what actually you're doing wrong. Just like how research is very important for business, feedback is very important because that's part of the research you're doing. You're trying to find out if you're doing the right thing or not. And another reason why loyal customers are really, really, important for business is that they're easier to sell to. Like I said before, they spend, much more money, and that's because they're already familiar with your brand. So when you bring up a new product per se, or you increase, maybe due to situations, the economy and stuff, your price, your pricing increases, they are easier to sell to because they understand that, okay, we're still paying for quality. We know this brand. So it's easier to sell to them. The probability of selling to a loyal customer is, 60 to 70%. But when you want to sell to a new customer, you have to do a lot of work. And even with a lot of work you're going to do, just only 50 to 20% of them, of 50 to 20% probability what you have to actually sell to new customers. So it's very important to have loyal customers because they are very significant to revenue increase and revenue drive. So yeah, that's one of the most important reasons why loyal customers are really needed for businesses.
Okay. Another thing I like about loyal customers is that they are very forgiving. Okay, so I mean, if you've been in business long enough, you would understand that, things do go wrong sometimes. There are unforeseen circumstances. And in those moments, you really want customers who can be understanding.
Yes.
And loyal customers are more likely to be understanding when things go wrong and forgiving than, new customers or customers who aren't actually familiar with your brand. Think about it. The difference between someone who's making a purchase for the first time and someone who's making a purchase for, say, the 15th time, and something goes wrong, the reactions are going to be so different because the person who's a loyal customer has experienced your brand over and over again and already knows what to expect. So when something goes wrong, they understand that that's not the norm and that's not intentional. So loyal customers are very forgiving and are very willing to overlook mistakes and still come back to make a purchase.
Of course, that's the most important thing, that they still come back to buy, because some people can forgive, but they won't forget. They won't come back, Another important reason, or another reason why loyal customers are important to businesses is that they provide more cross-selling opportunities. Cross-selling is simply, for instance, let's take a bakery for instance, that just deals in cakes. They just do birthday cakes, wedding cakes, and of course they know that kind of business is very seasonal. If someone celebrates a birthday only once a year, give or take, he has 10 friends that he actually can buy cakes for in a year. So that's quite seasonal, and they want to expand. So then they start to make cupcakes, snacks that you can actually order on a daily basis, just to satisfy some cravings here and there. Now, cross-selling is when they now bring that new product, which is the cupcakes, snacks, to customers. The people that are more likely to actually buy or to get those cross sales from is your loyal customers. If you don't have loyal customers, it's going to be very hard to convince them to actually try out that new product that you have. So if you already have loyal customers, they see an email or a text message from you saying, oh, we have this new product. They are much more easier to warm up. They're easier to warm up to that new product and say, oh, these people actually started doing this thing. Who knows? They've probably been anticipating that particular product, and then you bring it to them. They take it, quickly. But for people that are not loyal, they're skeptical about it. They're not familiar with the brand. They do not want to try out something that they're not sure of, so they'd rather not buy. It will take a lot of marketing and convincing to actually get new or unloyal customers to buy when you're doing a cross sale.
Interesting. It's interesting how while you were talking, I could actually think of one or two brands that I would do that for. And I think I'm assuming everyone, as well as we've gone through these points, has actually been thinking of brands they are loyal to. And if you haven't, just take a few seconds and think about it. Are there any brands that you buy? Sometimes it's subconscious. You haven't actually realized that you're loyal to a certain brand. But then if you start to look and, take note of the things you do, the things you buy, you would start to understand how customer loyalty works, and how you are being a loyal customer to certain brands. Okay. On a final note, loyal customers allow for accurate financial forecasts. And that's simply because when you have loyal customers and you're keeping accurate records of their purchases, their buying habits, how often they buy, it gives you a proper picture or a more accurate picture when you're doing your financial forecast. So you're able to look at, future data based on how your loyal customers behave today. And I think that's amazing, because a business that's just working off one-time purchases can't really give an accurate, forecast of where they're going, because everything is going to be based off of guesses. But with loyal customers, you can say, okay, based on these, 20% of my customers, here's where we're going. Here are the goals, we're likely to hit in this time frame. However, if you don't have that, then it becomes a bit more difficult.
Yes, I really do agree with that honestly, because if you don't have loyal customers, your customer base is more or less described as a leaky bucket. It's just like you fetch a full bucket of water, but it's leaky. And as you're going, it just keeps reducing. So you cannot actually tell the quantity you end up with at the end of the day. So it's very important to have loyal customers, because they can help you accurately, for times when you want to get a loan, when you want to raise capital, you know that, okay, because I have this amount of loyal customers, if I take this much loan, I can pay back in so and so time, because these people are there to patronize my business. Because they are, like you said, taking record. It's very important to take record of their buying habits, of actually how many loyal customers you have generally. So if you don't have those details intact, and you don't even have loyal customers to start with, then you cannot make such solid decisions or serious or important decisions as regards your business. Now, some people will be wondering, why then customers leave one business to another? Why is it that we cannot have loyal customers? The first reason why customers tend to leave businesses is poor communication. There's no communication between the business owner and the customer. There is the communication is there, but then the channel is not flexible. You insist on, the only way I can reach out to my customers can reach out to me is through walk-ins. They should come to report whatever issues they have. They should come to tell us whatever things they need to tell us. They should come to lodge whatever complaint they want to lodge. But there are this is a tech age. You can actually just get things sorted out by sending an SMS, an email, or even a WhatsApp message. And yet many people are very rigid with their communication channels. So that's one of the reasons why customers leave business for another. When they try to reach out to you and you're giving them very strong or rigid channels through which they can reach out to you, or when you don't even have any communication channel whatsoever, they just, they zone out. It's better I look for someone else. And it's so sad that most times it makes them go to even worse brands than yours, simply because the communication channel was not there, or there was lack of communication. That's the reason why they would rather go to a much, worse brand or lesser brand than yours, because they want to go where they can be heard.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And I think in this day and age, it's really important to go where your customers are. So that's why you end up seeing brands having to be on literally every platform, as long as their customers are present there. And you still have to leave the traditional means of communication because there are customers who would still prefer that.
That means, yes.
Yes, communication is very important. I think this section we can breeze through simply because we spoke about this on Monday, and I think everyone got a link to the video in their emails. Okay, so we just talk about lack of information. When you don't give customers enough information, then you're more likely to lose them. You need to give people enough information to help them make a quick buying decision without having to, keep contacting you or asking questions or going back and forth. The more information you give, the easier it is to sell to them and the easier it is for them to make a decision to buy. Okay. Next is tedious processes. Customers would leave if your process is tedious. So if it's difficult or it's tedious for them to place an order, for instance, it's more likely to turn them off and they would walk away and go somewhere where it's easier. If it's difficult for them to make a complaint, make an inquiry, that's likely to turn them off because we're in the age of convenience, right? Customers want convenience. They want to be able to do and get everything they want, and they want to be able to do and get it in their own way and in their own time. Okay. Next is no customer data. So customers are going to leave one business for another if they feel like the business doesn't know who they are or doesn't really care about who they are. Okay, so that's why you have Muna shared a story about how she's been patronizing this business for years and realized that they actually don't know who she is and they don't even understand her buying pattern, which was a very simple one because I guess you buy once a year.
Yeah.
At a particular time, yes. So knowing who your customers are, especially your loyal customers, understanding their buying patterns is very important. If you don't do that, they'll simply go somewhere where they feel appreciated. Okay, next is broken promises. If you don't keep your promises, customers will leave. It's that simple, right? If you promise to deliver a certain product or service of a certain quality at a certain price at a certain time, you should do exactly that, right? And if you can't keep to that promise, then people would go somewhere else where they wouldn't have to face the same disappointment. Next is no market research. So customers will leave your business for another if you really do not understand the space you occupy in your industry. So what that means is you must do market research to understand your industry, understand your competitors, understand how they function, understand what exactly they're doing, and understand how you fit into that ecosystem and how you can do even better to attract and keep your ideal customers. And finally, customers are going to leave if you're not asking them for feedback. And it's simple because customers know best what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong. So you have to ask them. You can't assume you know what you're doing is right because you never can tell. It's all about the customers who you are there to serve. So asking for feedback is also important. Okay. So I think now we can move into how we can get loyal customers, which is why we're here today.
Yeah.
Okay. So Muna, would you like to start us off?
Of course. So how do you get loyal customers? You cannot get loyal customers if your product is not good, if your product or service is not good. Like you said, for why customers leave businesses or brands for other ones is not asking for feedback. And I like what you said there, that actually your customers know best. Like it's all about perspective. From your perspective, if you know everything is going smooth, I like the way it's going, this is how it should go. But the customer actually knows better because they're the ones that are getting the service. So if your brand or your business is not good, it's needless to say that you won't have loyal customers because once they try it and they see, oh no, this is very terrible, they don't come again because that's one of the key characteristics of loyal customers. They come again. So they try it out once and they're like, this is so terrible. and they don't bother coming again. So if they don't come again, obviously they're not going to spread good news about you, and they're not going to refer people to your brand of business. So the most key thing to, or how to actually get loyal customers, the very first thing to consider is your product. Is it great or not?
Absolutely, because I believe you can only deceive a customer once. Like I said, they try it once and they know whether or not they're coming back. So if you're going to hook them in as loyal customers, the product or service has to be great to start with, because that's why they're there in the first place. Okay. A second way you can get loyal customers is by excellent onboarding. So I've come across quite a few brands that are selling a great product, but people don't have adequate information on how to use the product, right? Or people find it, hectic or tedious to actually maybe sign up or, start using the product. So there's that disconnect between getting the product and actually using it. And usually if a customer feels like using your product is difficult, they're not likely to come back.
Of course.
They'll go somewhere where it seems easier for them. So the problem sometimes might not be your product, it might be your onboarding. So you haven't taken the time to explain to the customer how to use it, or you haven't taken the time to ease the process of the customer going from making the purchase to actually using the product.
True. I really agree with that. That's even the next point, simplifying the process. It's as easy as I want this, and you give it to them. There's no need to actually complicate the process in such a way that they feel worn out at the end and they just, zone off from the sale process. So it's very key to make the process as easy as possible, because like you said, we're in the age of convenience. Everyone wants, a very easy process to having things done. So simplifying the process of buying from you would help you keep your customers as well.
Okay. Another thing that's important if you want to get loyal customers is to train your team. Okay, you need to empower your team, your staff, your employees with the requisite knowledge and skill to handle inquiries, take orders, and handle even difficult situations with customers. So what happens is if someone interacts with your business and your team is not trained to handle that interaction, it becomes a problem and the person is turned off. And they'll probably just leave and go somewhere else rather than stick with your business.
That's very, very true. Apart from that as well, even especially for support teams, how to respond to customers under pressure, when the customer is actually angry at that point in time, how to give the best or the most soothing answers to the customer. They should be trained on that as well, because if they don't, if they're not good with the way they handle situations at that point in time, they can lose one customer. And as well, some people that are very, very emotional can go as far as, saying they don't have a very good team, they have very terrible service and all. Another thing is promises. When you make a promise, make sure not to say too much and do too little. Instead, say little and overwhelm the customer with what you deliver. Never make a promise that you cannot keep. It's very important. Customers never forget. They never forget. If you say you're doing this for them and you end up not doing it, it stays registered in their minds. And they know that, okay, this next thing you're about to do, oh, well, they said it one time and you didn't do it. So they would rather not trust you. And once your customers stop trusting you, that's a sign that they're no longer, loyal to your brand. And then anyone that comes up and actually keeps their promises, they would leave your business and go for them.
Yes, I like what you said about the promising. So, it's always important to under-promise and over-deliver. So, for example, to put it in context, if it's going to take you, say, 3 days to deliver on a product, right? You can your policy can say it takes 4 days, just to give yourself that extra time for any unforeseen circumstances or any mistakes. And then what happens is, you deliver within 3 and the customer is excited anyways, because at that point you've exceeded the expectation of receiving their delivery in 4 days. So always on the promise and over deliver. Never ever make a promise that you can't actually keep. So it's going to take 3 days, but the customer says, "Oh, I'm traveling tomorrow," and you say, "Okay, fine, I'll do it then." But you know that that's not possible. You shouldn't do that. Never make a promise that you cannot keep, because what happens is the customer is not going to remember that they asked for a special favor. They're only going to remember that you made a promise and you did not keep it after taking their money.
Of course, after taking their money.
Okay. I think another one to mention is just even to add to communication. So the actual communication channels, I think we have to actually buttress that point, because it's very important to give your customers the channels they prefer. So we see brands that say, oh, I'm not good with WhatsApp, or, oh, I'm not good with Facebook. But the truth is, if your customers are on Facebook, then you have to be there. If your customers are on WhatsApp, then you have to be there, because it's all about, as we said, the convenience principle, and you basically have to go to them wherever they're seated waiting for you. Okay. So that in terms of communication channels is important. And I know some people say, oh, I can't keep up with so many channels of communication, so I'd rather just limit it. So you have people saying, oh, you're on every platform, but you say, oh, you can only reach us via WhatsApp, or oh, you can only reach us over the phone. Yeah. That doesn't work for customers. You're actually losing a lot of potential loyal customers, because at the end of the day, the customers would rather you meet them where they are than having them come to meet you where you are, which in fact might be inconvenient for them.
Yeah, true. Speaking about communication is a two-way thing. So I think the next point buttresses, communication as well, and you being able to meet your customers where they are, and that is being responsive. If you do not respond to customers, you are trying to make them feel like they're not important, like you don't actually know that they exist or something like that, because they don't just come to meet you as, like you have said, I cannot manage all these channels, so you just stick to one particular channel, but they're reaching out to you on other channels and you're not responding. That doesn't speak well of your business, because customers want to be heard. So respond as soon as possible. Let them know, oh yes, we have gotten this from you. We just heard what you said about this. We are working on it. We're going to get back to you on this. Respond as soon as possible. Even if you cannot give the customer a definite solution or answer at that point in time, respond to show the courtesy that, yes, I've seen your message and I'm doing something about it.
Yes, indeed. I think responsiveness is so important. And I think I shared in our live session, I shared a personal experience where I was looking to get someone to, do a service, and I messaged multiple businesses online. One got back to me within 24 hours, and the rest of them all got back to me about 2 weeks later, which was really awkward because they're all saying, oh, sorry, I just saw your message. In reality, I can only imagine how many people had tried to contact them within that period, because they obviously were not present in a 2-week period. So responsiveness is so important, because of course, by the time I was getting a response, I had moved on, I had gotten the service I wanted, and I was quite surprised and couldn't even remember what they were talking about until I opened and saw my message.
Yeah.
Okay, so responsiveness is important. Next is convenience. Okay, convenience is a tool that businesses need to wield in order to get loyal customers. I would say aim to be the most convenient option in your niche. right? Because customers pay more for convenience, and convenience creates fierce loyalty. Okay, and in terms of convenience, I'm going to talk about 3 convenience principles you can consider and actually start using. So one is self-service. Make it convenient for the customers to be able to do it themselves, because there are people who would rather do it themselves than speak to someone else. So an example is having frequently asked questions, for instance, or a knowledge base where your customers can go and get answers to their questions, or they can solve little issues with your product or service without having to contact you, because some people really do just want to do it themselves. Okay. The second is done for you. So give the customer an option where you actually do the thing for them, rather than perhaps teach them how to do it or sell them something that does it for them. And this especially applies to people who are, in service-based businesses, right? Some people just want the thing done for them. They're willing to pay more as long as they don't have to do it themselves. And that's convenience for you, okay? The third is access. You need to make it convenient for the customer to access you, your business, and whatever you're selling. And you can do this in different ways. Your location, you should be accessible. And in this day and age, it's so much easier because now you can be online and you can be in specific places online where your customers are, right? So it's no longer about your physical location and only being able to serve people in a certain area. Now you can serve people around the world as long as you locate yourself in the places where they go online. Okay. Second on that access is your hours of operation. Okay. To explain this one, I would put it in context. So say we have a business that's a hair salon, and the target market is, working class women, 9 to 5ers. Now, it wouldn't make sense for such a salon to open from 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
Because your target audience are in the office at the time. So that's not convenient. Your hours of operation then would not be convenient. It will be more convenient if you were to open, say, maybe from 7 or from 6, depending on your location, and close perhaps at 10 p.m. and also open on Saturdays and Sundays, because that's when your target audience have more time to come into the salon and get their hair done and all that. So that's convenience in terms of hours of operation. And finally, convenience in terms of communication, which we've spoken about, I believe, over and over again. So I'm not going to go back to that because I think we all understand how convenience of communication works. So that's convenience for you. Convenience is an important tool that you need to be using in order to get fiercely loyal customers.
Yes. For the next point, it's ask for feedback. Ask your customer if you met their expectation. Don't just assume that they were satisfied. Ask them for feedback, because you can actually tell from their own side of the story or from their perspective if you don't hear from them. Don't feel entitled that they're going to just send it to you, because if your customer just sends you feedback on their own, best believe it's terrible feedback. Probably they just want to lash at you. They're not going to tell you thank you for, they don't have that time. So they won't just on their own send such feedback. So it's best to ask for it. You can ask about what they think about your product or service, about the quality, about the value for the money, how much, whether actually your service is worth what they're paying for, how the delivery process was, how the ordering process was, anything at all that can actually help to ease the buying process, as well as delivery processes for them. Make sure you ask for feedback on that so that you can know how best to structure your business to that favors them.
You're absolutely right. And just to add to that, when it comes to asking for feedback, always ensure that you are asking a direct question. One of the most popular complaints from business owners when it comes to feedback is they say, oh, I keep asking people for feedback, but no one responds. No one responds because you're probably asking a generic question that you've probably sent out as a broadcast, right? And think about it from the customer's perspective. If I get a generic question that's meant for everyone, I don't feel obligated to give an answer. However, if you send me a message that's specific, so you're addressing me, you're talking about what exactly I purchased, and you're asking a specific question. So perhaps, what did I think about the quality? What did I think about your delivery time frame? If you're speaking directly to me, to be honest, it would be quite rude not to answer. So you're more likely to get people giving their opinion when you address them directly, and you're more likely to get quality feedback when you ask a specific question. Because you were to ask me, oh, how was your experience? And I'll say it was fine. I haven't told you what about my experience was fine. And honestly, I don't feel the obligation to tell you. But if you were to ask me, what did you think about the quality of the product? I would then have to give an opinion. Oh, I thought the quality was great, right? And what happens is feedback is not just for you. Feedback is how you sell to potential customers. Because the feedback you're getting should be answers to questions that your potential customers would have. So if I'm talking about the quality was great, that feedback is going to be useful to someone who is wondering if the quality of your product is great. Right? If I'm talking about the speed of delivery, that feedback is going to be, is going to be useful for someone who's trying to make a decision to buy, but it's really important to them that they get it quick. Okay, so you should be asking the kind of questions that your potential customers would want answers to when you're asking for feedback, and ensure that it's specific. I'll talk about something else, which is service recovery. If you're going to get loyal customers, then you need to know that whenever you mess up or when things go wrong, you're going to have to take responsibility and you're going to have to fix it fast. Okay, there's no any business that's going to start playing the blame game is not going to retain customers. Because customers want to know that if something goes wrong, especially when it's your fault, they want to know that you have their back and you're going to fix it. It's that simple. And customers will respect a business that actually takes responsibility for their actions or inactions. So make it a thing, make it a policy, make it a thing in your business. Everyone should know on your team that in this business, we take responsibility for our actions. There's nothing worse than someone having a bad experience and then they complain to the business and the business blames them for the bad experience. That person is definitely not coming back, no matter what. However, there's numerous stories, and I feel like most of us can relate. There's stories of, businesses that did something wrong, but what mattered was how they handled it. And in that moment, they had people who suddenly turned into loyal customers. The truth is that it's only when things go wrong that you can really show how good you are at customer service, ironically.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's important that when things go wrong, your response should be a priority. You should care about how you respond to situations like that. And remember that the goal is not just to solve a problem and let the customer walk away. The goal is to recover that customer so that they even become more loyal to your business because you have shown them that you care and that you're willing to fix any issues that might go wrong.
Of course. Even in cases whereby the fault is from the customer, it's quite rude to just throw it back at them and say it's your fault, because nobody wants to hear that. Because they're paying for your services, so they don't want to hear that. Instead, find a way to, address the situation by telling them, okay, how about you try it this way? You just point out what they're supposed to be doing, like try it this way, offer the solution. Don't just tell them, it's your fault. That's the wrongest thing to tell the customer. And another point, the next point I'm going to go into is improve on your services. any business that wants to move forward, that wants to increase its customer base, that wants to have loyal customers, must have improvement like as their tradition, as their culture. You can't say the way you were last year is the way you want to remain this year. Improve on your services. And most times you don't know, you're not aware of the kind of improvement your business needs because you're not getting feedback from customers. So these points, they go hand in hand. They have, they touch each other on different touch points. So you must learn, you must have it at the back of your mind that your business and your services should be improved upon continuously. And one way to get good ideas on how to improve your business and service is by having feedback from customers. So when they give you feedback, okay, it's time to do this, it's time to do that. You can't say, okay, because of COVID, this COVID actually made people understand the importance of virtual, assistance. As a result of the COVID now, you can actually, without leaving your house, order for food from many eateries that actually require for you to come to their location. So when you have feedback from customers, when you're in line with what is going on around you as well, there's a tendency to improve. But if you just zone yourself out and say, I'm going to do my thing the way I started it, there's no need for improvement, then the business is going to go down the drain because most of the customers will go towards where the services are much more, top-notch compared to yours.
Okay, the next point is a personal favorite of mine, and that's reward your customers to encourage loyalty. Mm-hmm. Okay, so look, we're all human. Everyone loves freebies. Everyone loves a good deal. Yeah. To ensure that you're giving your customers something, they have to feel like they're getting something more out of it, right? And that's where value for money comes in. Mm-hmm. So you can have a loyalty program. You can do special discounts or seasonal discounts. You can give your loyal customers gifts, perhaps at the end of the year or during a festive period. You can give gift vouchers, or you can partner with other businesses to bring some sort of offer, special offer for your customers. However, I must say that you can't compel loyalty just using gifts, because what happens is people will just take your freebies and still go to your competition and take their freebies and keep it moving. Okay, so you must be adding the other things we're discussing as well to this. But this is always a nice touch. It's like the icing on the cake to just give that something extra special to keep them loyal.
It's good to show gratitude to loyal customers, and don't do the giving because you want to get more customers. That's the problem that most businesses have. They do promos, they give incentives, all because they want to increase customer base. But if you do it with the mindset that you want to say thank you to your loyal customers, you not only get new customers, but you also be thankful. You also be saying thank you to your loyal customers. And the next point I'll be going to is show expertise. Show your customers that you know your space very well. Give them information on your product, how your product works. Be so knowledgeable that your customer can actually trust your recommendation. Okay, there are situations where particular features or services are not available yet on your site. Okay, and your customer just comes to you and says, "We need this," and you're like, "Oh, we don't have this at the time, but you can actually go to these people. You can actually do it like this," and they take your word for it. And as weird as it is, they won't leave your business because they know, okay, we trust this person more. We're trying out with this person just because we don't have that service for these people yet. They can always come back and be like, "Oh yeah, because you actually recommended this for me, it worked out fine. I trust you guys." And they can even go and ask me, "Why haven't you guys started such stuff yet?" And you're like, "Oh, we're still in progress, it's still working," and stuff like that. And they're patient with you. So show that you actually know what you're doing. Because if you recommend them to a different brand and they end up, having the worst experience ever, I don't think they'll trust you anymore. But if they have good experience, they know that you know what you're doing in that space, and they keep coming back for more.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And in a way, when you show expertise in this way, and like you're saying, you give recommendations that work, you're sort of also making it convenient for them. You're bringing that extra bit of convenience because they now know that they don't have to go and start doing research on perhaps a wide range of products. They can simply ask for your opinion and they're going to take that opinion. Chances are they're not likely to go somewhere else where they won't get that benefit, right? It's so convenient to just ask you, and that's what they'll keep doing. Okay. I think we're almost at the end of our list of 15 strategies. The 14th one is to put structure in your business. Okay. Use policies, use standard operating procedures, just have processes to ensure that things are running smoothly behind the scenes and that every person who interacts with your business actually has a seamless experience. The only way you can ensure that every single person that interacts with your business has a seamless experience is by having actual procedures or processes that you adhere to. If you wake up every morning and run your business in a different way every day, then everyone is going to be having a different experience and you never really know what you're going to get. However, if you have structures in place, you're more likely to give the kind of experience that will make them come back over and over again.
But I really agree with you on that. Finally, it comes to the end of all the 15 points that we're supposed to give out for this webinar. The last point, certainly not the least, because it's very, very important. It's the secret to how industry leaders are able to inspire customer loyalty, and that is automation. You mentioned something one time. You said, you can't be in all social media channels because, for me, I know Twitter is a very savage place. I'd rather avoid Twitter, for my emotional and mental health reasons, but even at that, you need to also meet customers at that point too. So you should automate for reasons. And one of the greatest or best automation system or automating system you can use is Alpha CX. Okay, they're the sponsors for this webinar. It's supposed to actually even give a shout out at the beginning to Alpha CX. So Alpha CX is it's a very simple and easy to use customer support platform. It helps you to log, track, and also measure your customer satisfaction. Okay, so when I talk about automation, what do I mean? I mean being able to be everywhere at the same time, being present, being omnipotent, and being omniscient. You know everything that's happening, you are everywhere at the same time, and you can also do everything from those different places at the same time. That's what it means to automate. So obviously, you're not God that can actually have those qualities. So you need something to help out, and that's where a CRM comes in. And one that I would like to recommend is Alpha CX. And there's some features that actually help with these automation processes. There's the conversational inbox, okay? Conversational inbox is, you don't need to enter Twitter to see the savagery that is coming in on a regular, okay? But you have all your messages in one place, okay? That's the conversational inbox feature. You can see every channel that you're connected to. Maybe your business is using WhatsApp, Facebook. You're also you have an email address put up for customers to reach out to you. Instead of having to go to those ones one by one, the conversational inbox brings out all the messages from those different channels as well. Another feature that actually helps with automation is integration. If you don't have your communication channels integrated, you cannot have your conversational inbox showing you every detail that you need to see. So you have to integrate by actually, connecting your WhatsApp, connecting your email, connecting your phone, SMS to your Alpha CX account. Another feature is the help desk system. The walk-in channel is quite traditional, quite old, but some people actually prefer that type of communication channel. So in the case whereby someone comes, in front of you to lodge a complaint, to request for something, instead of going around looking for notes to scribble on, the help desk system is there for you to actually create tickets based on that person's request or complaint. Okay, so I also need to mention that the conversational inbox, apart from you being able to view the messages from different channels, you can also, it also automatically generate tickets. So that means you don't have to go through the process of generating a ticket or that came in through WhatsApp because okay, I've seen this ticket. Okay, let me go and start opening or creating a ticket. The conversational inbox is already a ticket on its own. So once a message comes in, even if the person just saying hi, it comes as a ticket. So you can close it if it's not something that's very, very important, or if it is very important, you respond to it as soon as possible. Another feature, is the ticket distribution system. That's for team productivity. I know we did mention, team training your teams to make sure that they can meet up to what your customers need. So team productivity is very dependent on how the distribution of the ticket comes. Imagine where only one person keeps receiving tickets to handle, and they might get overwhelmed and stressed out. And then the people that will be on the receiving end, usually your customers. But in a case whereby the ticket distribution is done orderly, such a way that tickets are only given to those that have lesser, tickets that they're handling at the point in time, it'll be very easy for them to work their way around it. There are other ticket distribution systems that are going to be coming up on the Alpha CX CRM, and they include the round robin, that helps to distribute tickets as regards or as related to how well your agents can handle the tickets. Another one is automation on its own, service level agreements. That's where you set timelines for particular tickets to be handled. And if they're not handled, they are escalated to the right quarter as well, so that necessary actions can be taken. We also have the knowledge base, where you show actually your knowledgeability or how knowledgeable you are in that area by putting out information for your customers to actually help themselves. Like you said, self-service, they don't actually want to talk to you, but there's another way for which they can help themselves. And that's what we get with the knowledge base feature of Alpha CX CRM. Then the final one, certainly not the least, is the ratings and report system. You get to know how satisfied your customers are. That cannot be underrated. You have the CSAT, which is the customer satisfaction test or score. You also have NPS, which is the Net Promoter Score. Now, Net Promoter Score will tell you how many loyal customers you have, because if your customers are not likely to promote your business, it means they're not loyal to you. So the Net Promoter Score rating system on Alpha CX actually lets you know how many loyal customers you have, so that you can, like we said before, plan the financial reports as well for future purposes. So that's that about Alpha CX. But there's more, and in case you want to know more about Alpha CX and how it can be tailored for your business, simply visit alphacx.co. That's our website. You can schedule a demo. Once you schedule a demo, will respond to you immediately and also get right to letting you know how Alpha CX can work for your business, and even if you can do, or not even if, because we actually provide services like tailored services to certain businesses as regards what they require for their business.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Was so detailed. Thank you, Muna. And I'm hoping that everyone else also understood, like I did, the different amazing features of Alpha CX. I think I would also add that you can also reach Alpha CX on just about any platform where you are located. Mm-hmm. Okay, just in case you're thinking that everything Muna just described is a scam, send a message on any platform and see how soon you get a response.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this brings us to the end of this session. It's been an amazing one, and there's been a lot of information. If you're registered for this, of course, you're going to get a link with a replay, so you can take your time and go over the information and start implementing in your business. Okay. At this point, I guess we'll say thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having you in future webinars.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget to, like she said, try to reach us on other channels and see how fast we respond, because we actually practice what we preach.
Amazing.
All right, thank you very much.
Have a lovely day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.